I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence to let them in, chalk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, I to stay on the go. I can't play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me, then I double up again, none of their knows. None of them cold, they just got lucky but never adapted, so I'm to the one if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close, I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat.
Hello, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
Yes, welcome back to Startup on the Blocks. You were back helping us out last month on our pitch competition. We're glad to have you back as a guest this time.
Thank you for having me. And I love the music, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Our streaming partner, Chris, he put that together for us. He said he's going to give us some new music soon, but we'll wait and see what happens. Yeah, okay. It's nice to get you a little energized before you go on.
It sure does. I was about to cut a move, but I said, hold on now. I can't quite do that at the moment.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you on to kind of learn more about what you're doing over in Texas. And so, yes. But first, before we get started, Janae, and should I call you Janae? Or is that good? Or
oh, absolutely. CJ or Janae, since you said it correctly, because sometimes Janae is a little challenging for some people. So, since you said it correctly and you're comfortable with it, that's perfectly fine. Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. So, we'll get started and introduce Startup on the Blocks just in case we have any new listeners in the audience. And first, we'll do our pay homage to our sponsors that help us keep the lights on around here and fund our pitch competitions. So we're excited to have some partners that are really willing to help out and support what we're doing. And so Florida Power and Light, they're are one of our major founding sponsors. They provide funding for our training program, that Lean Stack training program I've been telling you about, Janae. We also partner with the local minority chamber and the local Pensacola chamber. They help us out, and we support them as well. And everybody's trying to help everybody out, which is so fantastic.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
And they actually, I don't know if you remembered, they both actually gave free chamber memberships for our first place winners for the pitch competition. Yeah, so that's a really nice benefit. And Collab, we've been working with Pat Rooney over there since we started, and he offered like several hours of consulting to the contestants that won the pitch competition. So we're grateful for that. Yeah, Bantucola, our streaming partner, and the Small Business Development Center, we've been working with them from the start. They actually designed our logo for us. That's pretty neat. Yeah, and Innisfree and the First Bank, they've been sponsoring our pitch competition. So we're definitely they're definitely making it happen for us. So we're glad to have them as partners to kind of move along here. So we got you on tonight.
All right.
We could do like a little short introduction, and then we'll do a little more and get on into Startup on the Blocks a little bit more. So
okay.
Just a short introduction for yourself.
All right. Well, my name is Janae Chappelle, CJ for short. I am the owner of Wisdom Concerts LLC, which is a minority-owned management consulting company that provides operation solutions. And then I'm also the founder of Wisdom Concerts Learning Institute, which is an incubator for startups. Yep, that's me in a nutshell. I didn't know if I could go a little longer. I don't want to take too much.
We'll get into dig a little deeper sooner. But what we try to do with Startup on the Blocks, we try to bring ecosystem folks in like yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I like you're doing both the consulting end and the end of supporting founders through your nonprofit as well. So that's
Yes.
pretty admirable. Yeah. And so like we have a couple of guests coming up later on next month. The Kimberly, she actually manages the Minority Business Development Center down in Miami, but they service our region
Nice.
up there. So we're anxious to see um, what stuff they have out there for us. They've been helping our nonprofit a little bit, but I want to find out what other services they can offer to our founders as well. Uh, Diana, she's from Africa, but she lives here in America now. She runs a nonprofit as well called Black Sis, and so that's a really a cute thing. And so she's really dynamic, and she and I are in this uh, tech workforce huddle that Goody Nation does. And so she's a new member there. And she also like they have accelerators for nonprofits. She just got out of the Fast Forward accelerator for tech nonprofits. So I want to
Nice.
hear more about that as well. So she's definitely on fire there.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, so it's always good to hear about all the things, and it's always good to network. So
Yes,
in our
that's true.
huddle, we share information to help each other out, and that's kind of what our network
Yes.
is for too. And so we like to get as many people on as possible in our networking, so you can kind of share information and help each other grow. But this we all about helping the entrepreneur on their journey. So it's hard for a person that don't much about the startup world to know what that journey is like. And so
Right.
I like this chart because it kind of tells you some of the phases you go through even before you actually launch your startup. And so that's what I like about this chart, because you have to um, do some preparation before you actually ever can build a product and launch a MVP or whatever. So this is really a good chart to kind of explain the journey. At the beginning of the journey, it's all about getting that foundation of what a founder's journey is like, and then you have to design do a business model design. You have to design your business model, and so that needs to sink in a little bit. So you have to design a business model before you even start your business, and make sure that it's desirable, viable, and feasible. And so that's a really neat thing. And it's the most important step, because that's the step that where you at the end you get your stakeholders to kind of join in with you and help you out. You get your ability to pitch your business model. You get into these programs, these incubator programs, these accelerator programs, these pre-accelerator programs, these pitch competitions, and that's all before you even start building anything. And so that's kind of what to do. And then once you get to this point, then you can start, finding that problem solution fit, and take advantage of some of the programs out there. I can't say enough about it, but it's just to help people understand that there is a journey. It doesn't instantly happen. It's a journey, and you don't have to know everything before you get started. And I guess that's the main message I see. So what do you think about this chart?
Very is on point. I have to agree. That feasibility is very important. To know um, what you're getting into in the very beginning. Test that idea, because it's great that you have an idea, but want to make sure that you can make money off of that idea,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
Yeah, so that's one of the great things, and I love the fact that it did show the business model, because that's another major factor.
Mhm.
Understanding that up front, because that is the engine, right, for your
Yes.
organization, and how it's going to move. And yeah, I really do like this chart. It's pretty good. You're validating the framework, which is really good. Yep.
Mhm.
Which is basically the testing period.
Okay.
That's pretty good when it comes down to, and when I think of the testing, like just the basic things like a focus group, or a
Yes.
pilot. Most of us use pilots. I know I've used pilots many times
Yes.
to test.
Yes, that's with this some big corporations doing pilot stuff.
Yeah.
With them. That's a really good thing. But so the one last thing I'll say about the business model design. So like we have some students in working this summer, so I had them, looking at some different software to do task management, project management with, and
Nice.
each company had a different business model.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so,
Uh-huh.
yeah, and so that it's they selling the same services, but they use a different approach to do it.
Mhm.
And that's like one company lets you have 5 users for free to get started, and another company they let you test it for a couple of weeks, and then you start paying immediately. You see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like it's pretty amazing, and one company is real expensive once you go through the testing phase, but they're all are really good products and really,
Absolutely.
but they just
Yeah.
use a different approach to scale their business. And
Yep.
I think what the startup world is about is designing a business model that can scale. And I was talking to some other folks this week, and they didn't realize that you actually can design a business model that will scale, as opposed to designing one that scales slow instead of scaling fast.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's kind of the neat thing of taking a break and actually really trying to understand this stuff before moving forward. Now, this is another chart I used to use all the time when we first started on the box a couple of years ago.
Hmm.
It sort of pictorially tells you as an individual you got to have a mindset, and you have to develop these skills around that mindset, and then you can take advantage of all the things that are in the ecosystem. So if you don't get those skills and best practices, it's hard to take advantage of the stuff that's out there to help you out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head. The thing is if especially for those of those people who have not gone to business school, off,
Hmm.
in the from the onset, and that's the good part about all of this, is that business school is not required at all for this particular activity. For the start a business.
Yes.
But at the same time, learning those fundamental things are important. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a fantastic thing. You have to have those skill sets, especially for if you're starting, you're working in the industry and you're saying, okay, this is my area of expertise. Then we need to know that you have the skill to actually do those things. So, and so there's that two things there. You have
Yeah.
your skill set to operate the organization,
Yes.
right? Run it. And then you have the skill set if you're going to, in the very beginning, we tend to do some of the work. So
Yeah.
until we can hire, so making sure you have the skill set to produce as well the product or the service that is stated. So yeah, that's fantastic. I agree 100%. That's the
Yeah.
part. That's the grit. That's the hard work, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
being patient and being
Definitely
patient
patient.
with
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah, because see, this is the area I think some people get frustrated in. I had a client not too long ago. It was 3 ladies in the partnership, and that was one of the challenges that they were rolling, that they were encountering, is the fact that they want to go fast.
Hmm.
And there were certain skill set, that you learn over time. It's kind of like
Hmm.
wine; it gets better over time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In leadership, same thing. There's not we don't learn all of our leadership skills up front immediately. There are certain things we go through that helps to carve and shape us. So
Yes. Yes.
just being patient in that
Well,
area too.
yeah, and I kind of relate that patience to realizing there is a process and there's
Yes,
phases you
there is
go through, and so you don't have to know everything that's in the process, but
everything.
you
That's
just have
right.
to know that there's phases you go through,
Yes,
and so that's why it's like a journey, and
it
you just,
is.
yeah, and you just treat it as an adventure, and move right along. So it's it's a really good thing there. So let's see. So what we did with Startup on the Box, because it's kind of hard to serve everybody. So what we did, we put a playbook out there to kind of kind of help people if they want to go out on their own and do stuff. And so this playbook kind of follows that mindset thing, and the lean startup methodology, the link with the lean stack stuff, and then so when we got started, we didn't have the lean stack program. So what we actually recommended people do was join the startup school, which is free, and then that takes them through developing their business idea. It just takes them through the lean startup processes, and they've been around so long with the Y Combinator. It's just all that resources is there from 2005, I believe. Every accelerator program they did, I mean, just it's the most massive source of information that's available to a founder, and it's free. So I don't know what else to say. They literally democratized, what it takes. They open source being a startup founder. That's the way I look at it. Yeah.
It is.
And then the F6S number 4, that was a kind of an idea where that company's been around. It's a founder site, and it's an application site for programs, pitch competition, pre-accelerated programs, accelerator programs, you name it, is out there. And it's also a site for that have for organizations or companies that like to give stuff to founders.
Nice.
Working on a scalable idea, and so that's a key thing, because that helps people in the ecosystem know who you are, and it's like you do your personal profile and your startup profile, and so that's what's good about it. And so what we're doing tonight is we kind of like trying to do a startup community. So you have to join in and participate if you wanna learn, and so we have these weekly events to do it, and then that's when you can take advantage of all the stuff that's in the ecosystem, because you know the best practices, you know how to pitch your idea clearly and concisely, and you just, since you connected, you know about all these programs that are out there. It's just unbelievable the number of programs that are out there to support founders.
Yes, there are a lot of those and free.
Yeah.
I mean, just from the government, even on the government side,
Yes.
I was happy to see that you guys are partnered with the SBDC. That is a one of the free resources too. But a lot of free resources.
Yeah, so like if you remember that chart I showed earlier with the founder in the middle, and then the skills and best practice around the founder, and then outside was the ecosystem. And so I got this chart a little different. I have the, like, you as a founder, what we do is we try to help you with all these best practices and provide you resources so you can take advantage of all these opportunities out there that are too numerous to actually mention. Yeah. And so I joined this website called, I think it's Stunks or something, but they have pitch competitions and demo things every day. You can sit and watch pitch competitions, and you can actually learn what all these different business models that these people are using, and figure out whether you need to tweak your business model. You can hear all the questions that the judges are asking, so you can know what to expect when you go into a pitch competition. It's just there is no excuse for not being able to kind of learn what the deal is out there. And these are some of our mentors that are supporting our program. So the founders can connect with the mentors and get the help they need for moving forward. So yeah, we're definitely excited. So when you're in a traditional business, you don't see all these people running to help you. But when you're in the startup thing, building a scalable business, you see more resources that are out there to help people along. And so what I always ask people, if it takes a lot of work to do a traditional business, a lifestyle business, and it takes a lot of work to do a startup business, but one can scale faster, which one should you do? And so naturally, you want to do something that can scale, because it's going to take the same amount of work as something that doesn't scale.
That's true.
Yeah, that's really good. So I was trying to, getting back to you, and I guess and how we met. we didn't officially meet on there. Was that minority investment weekend or something? You were a judge in a pitch competition they had.
Uh, I'm not sure because I do quite a bit of
Yeah, yeah,
pitches and speaking engagements, so I can't
yeah,
remember
yeah. I think,
exactly how we met. But one thing that I do know is we did connect. Oh
oh,
yes, I did a speaking engagement,
yeah,
and I was speaking on SaaS systems.
yeah, yeah. You
And
did
so
have
that's
yeah,
how we met. Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes.
That's exactly right.
Minority Week.
Yeah, we're matter of fact, I think I was on Hopin. I was actually looking at the thing on Hopin, just like our founders are on Hopin right now. I was actually, looking and listening because Hopin always have events going on every day as well to to,
Yes,
to learn. So, and then we connected over LinkedIn, and we
yes,
had a couple of conversations and invited you to become a judge, and now you're on to so people can learn what you what you're really all about. Your
yes,
secrets.
yes.
Yeah. So tell us your journey. You're like even like so. What did you know you were going to be a business consultant? What were you thinking you're going to be when you were in high school and all that kind of stuff?
I had a very interesting journey. So I'm glad you even asked that question because,
Hmm.
I like to share it. I like to start there
Okay.
most of the time. So I had a very interesting journey. Most of my life, I thought I was going to be an attorney.
Wow.
I
Okay.
always knew I was going to help people. For a large part of my life, I wanted to be a civil rights attorney, very clear early
Hmm.
on, and also adjunct faculty member. Go
Okay.
figure. I knew I was going to be in education because I have that mix between justice. The thing that breaks my heart is injustice.
Hmm.
At the time, I didn't understand that there were other avenues that I could pursue to get to the same end result. And so I thought that the legal system and me in law, I still have a passion for law. I still do to this day.
Hmm.
So, but what I found is when I was working on my master's, and again I was going through preparing for to go to law school. The courses
Okay.
that we were taking were preparing us for law school and all that good stuff. And I was blessed. I was getting my master's in public administration,
Okay.
and that entire department at North Carolina Central University, whoop, whoop, the Eagles, right?
Right.
We that entire department was full of attorneys. The chair on down.
Wow.
I mean, everybody's were attorneys, so it was great. We and then not only that, but Attorney Penny at the time, that was my chair. He had a lot of connections to the state agencies and
Okay.
in North Carolina. So we had gotten really good hands-on experiences working inside of government agencies as part of our coursework, right?
Okay.
And so really great practical as well as theory. And he did a great job of bridging the two. So we wouldn't just have a theoretical degree. We would actually have come out with some kind of competence.
Hands
We
on. Yeah. Yeah.
understood how to apply certain things and what really worked from the books and what really did not.
Hmm.
So really great. I have to always contribute that piece of my life to him because in all those teachers that was surrounding, because I mean, my educators are huge for me, and I guess that's how I always knew I was going to go into the
Yeah.
higher
So why
ed.
was that? Yeah. Why was that so important that, with the learning the inner workings of government and stuff, why is that? So how are you leveraging that today?
Oh, actually, I wanted to run for Congress. That's what that was. I was going to be an attorney, and I was going to go
Okay.
and run for
Gotcha.
Congress
Gotcha.
at some point. Still may, but
Gotcha.
not quite in that mode at the moment. Now I teach
Okay.
government right now. Today, I happen to teach government on the college level. So that part I did do.
Okay.
But while I was in a particular class, it was a law class. I can't remember exactly which. I think it was HR law, something of that
Okay.
nature. And we were briefing cases, and one day I had to really argue a point for something, and it hit me at that point that no, this is because when I started seeing how slow progression was happening on the legal side, the political side, I said, well, policy probably isn't the best thing for me. So let me look at another way, because I was also at the time getting certified in nonprofit management because I believed in the nonprofit
Okay.
business, that particular modem, that medium, to be, to me, out of business, that was the best side. So I mean, I kind of always like kind of like business too.
Hmm.
But what happened there was, I realized that, okay, I did not want to take the political arena. Let me look into business now. And
Okay.
so that's kind of the thing that opened up the door, because I was not looking at the traditional nonprofit. You know, the traditional nonprofit is okay, you're not making money, and ask people, a lot of people for money. Da, 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 da. Mine was like, no, we can really use this to help people, um, uh, actually, not, just like with business in general, it is one of the mediums that's out there, one of the best, top mediums that's out there for generational wealth. So how
Okay.
can we use nonprofits to be that,
Okay.
for a lot of people? Because, of course, when I looked at the demographics of who typically go into nonprofits and understanding the different business models when it came to nonprofits, I was like, wow, okay, this is a great area for me to go into, because it doesn't have the injustice that I saw in the for-profit arena
Okay.
at the
Okay.
time.
Gotcha.
And then I didn't see the too much of the government involvement where there's a lot of regulations. So
Hmm.
it's like a smooth medium that you can go into a business and operate as a business,
Yeah.
but not necessarily have all the restrictions of both
Hmm.
sides. So that's kind of how I got into,
Okay.
to the on the business side and consulting and stuff like that. And so, um, moving forward, the other things that and I tell people all the time, it never, look at your past and say, oh gosh, I waste a lot of time in this area, and I did a lot of this and that and the other, and it was all for naught. And that's true. That's truly not the case to me. I'm a firm believer, and when I look at my background, I say this with confidence, is that everything that we've gone through actually builds on to something. If it
Yeah.
wasn't for
Sure.
me having certain experiences working with different organizations and different kinds of organizations, and learning different systems and different business models, and small and large, government, for profit,
Hmm.
corporate, having all of those experiences kind of helped me to really understand, oh, certain kinds of business models. And for me, there is a business model that I do particularly like,
Hmm.
and it brings that profit along with its, as far as combines cause, meaning that you're purposeful along
Hmm.
with making money. So it's not just that I'm just going after something to make money. It's
Okay.
because I want to make a difference in the money part is the byproduct of that. But so yeah, so that's kind of how I got started. Is in when I was doing my master's, I changed directions and I said, okay, I'm not going to law school. I'm going to go for the doctorate, and that's kind of what I did. I went on to pursue my doctorate in organizational leadership with the emphasis in organizational development. Um,
Okay.
and so that's kind of the rest is history. That's kind of was my start. I designed the very first thing that I was able to do, as far as helping the community and to really test their things out, was when I designed a nonprofit certificate at Richland College here in Dallas area, and offered that one. And from there, we piloted different styles and different things. We looked at different structures, and so we did get the numbers that we needed to see, and what worked and what didn't work. And so later on, we took that nonprofit certificate and extended it to for profits, added them in the mix, and to try to see if what we were on, what we were, the different courses that we developed, and the processes and the methodologies and all that stuff, did it work? And so we did. We found out, that it worked not only for nonprofits but for profit. So to date, we had a very slow start because I wanted to spend time with making sure that all of these things work. So to date, we helped about 100 startups,
Wow.
organizations start, and some of them to scale, but mainly all startups.
Yeah, that's really it's an interesting background. I was earlier on. You were saying you went out and got a certificate in nonprofit management,
I do.
and then I'm also hearing you say you actually designed another certificate
I
program
did.
for that, and then you saw that it actually could apply to for-profit businesses.
Yes.
And so is that one those two you designed? Are they through some organization or what's how they how do people actually sit for them? I guess is what the question is.
Well, the we piloted through Richland College
Okay.
the Dallas College, Dallas Community
Okay. Got
Colleges. Yeah. So if they needed to, if they today, the certificate still probably exists. I did depart from it because I
yeah.
didn't get. Yeah. So I tried to. So I left the certificate there.
Okay.
And so there is a nonprofit certificate there that still exists. But
Yeah.
what's happening now is we revamped it under Wisdom Counselors Learning Institute.
Okay. Fantastic.
So starting in January 2023, we will be relaunching those courses, but online, because our thing was is to bring everything online.
Yes. Yes. And I'm not sure if you're aware. I'm trying to think. There is a entrepreneur and small business certificate program to a national certificate, and so the and so what's interesting about that certificate program, the training that they offer to lead up to that certificate, when you look at it, it's the same kind of stuff as the startup training that you go do in these accelerator programs. And I did want to mention that the way I look at a lot of accelerator programs is that you actually get in 12 weeks or so, you actually they're trying to condense the whole master's program in 12.
Yeah, it is. It's tough.
Possible to do, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's really fast paced.
yeah.
Now you said your PhD is in organizational development. Is that
Organizational leadership with an emphasis in organizational development. I am ABD.
okay?
So I did not, I paused because I actually transferred to another school and pursued, there's another,
I got you.
um,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
area that I
my
wanted to.
point is um, that organizational development and a lot of that stuff is the kind of stuff that an entrepreneur needs to know, right?
Oh, absolutely. Organizational development. So that's the foundation of being a business consultant, right?
Okay.
So what we do, and so I have 26 years of experience of that. I mean, I started
Okay.
off very young, 19 years old. I was developed my first department. So, and then
Okay.
programs and things of that nature that have gone, have expanded in many different states. So had a lot of background as far as experience in the OD area. So now with organizational developers, our brains are really funky. We're unique, like just like tech people. Tech people, we're unique. So I'm a cross now between OD and tech.
Well, like,
But
yeah.
at the in the very beginning with organizational development, so what we do is we go into those organizations and we are analyzing, making sure that they have their internal systems, meaning their organizational budgets, their goals, all of those things aligns with their financials, their HR. So we're looking at the entire organization
Yes.
and helping them to make sure they're in alignment from the very beginning, your internal and externals. And then making sure that that organization is going to every business stage cycle
Hmm.
smoothly. And if they're not, if they're going off track, then that's when we come in and we help them to get on track. But
Yeah.
from because of that background, it was easy for me to help, organizations when they're first starting out, because that's what we do. We're looking at your whole organization to make
Yeah, so
sure that.
yeah, that's kind of what my question is right now, and that's statement in my head. At what stage of of, of an organization, most time I see organization development people, they're working with well-established companies that needs to that need to really get organized and get operation. But I've been in the back of my mind as you're talking, I'm saying, well, how can you use that with a startup? What phases, of your startup journey with that your type expertise come in? Does it come in at the very beginning as well as once you actually you launch your product or service, your MVP? That's what's puzzling me right now. So
Oh yeah, no, that's a very valid question.
yeah.
Actually, OD can start in the very, very beginning, because we deal with artists. We're looking at your leadership. We're looking at culture, how to develop those things. So that's why it's good to have an OD person
Hmm.
somewhere in sight. Or some of us also we're another name for us, a business analyst.
Hmm.
um, but the thing is, for me, and this is my journey here, when I did my research and I created my businesses, one of the things that, when Wisdom Constance first started out, it started off as a technical assistant. We provided technical assistance for nonprofit organizations. That's how we
Okay.
started. That's why the certificate was created and all that.
Yeah.
But and we saw the challenges that a lot of nonprofits was having to keep their doors open.
Gotcha.
So we had to look at things from the very beginning, the startup side of it, and say, well, let's look at you from the very beginning, and let's see if we can get you to make sure that you are on the your business is have a solid foundation from day one, as opposed to kind of jumping in the middle and start cleaning up. So that's kind of how we started off with that startup piece. But then in 2020 and in 2021, I rebranded, where we are now more of a management consulting company. And with that, on the management side, I mean, so when we start looking at the statistics on certain organizations, where, and it kind of goes back to your question about those existing organizations having challenges, how do we help people as they are scaling? And so that's what that's for. We, on the management side, we saw three pressure points that most organizations go through from the beginning all the way to the end. But as they're scaling, going to the next business cycle, they tend
Hmm.
to have this problem. And that's, they have a pressure point in the HR area, the IT, and or business development. So that means that sometimes it's the personnel, or they don't have time to train people. The other piece is the IT technology, and I know you know this very well. When organizations don't have a very good technology, they spend a lot of time on minute stuff, that can be handled in the automation, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So they
I
focus
understand
more on other
clearly.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the third thing is business development. We focus more on business, on grant writing and proposal writing. Now we do have the other resources too, but
Hmm.
those two things, because people don't always have time. Like right now, grant writing is one of our. We don't really even advertise for grant writing, because that is so needed. A lot of companies,
Yeah.
they're always looking for someone to help them to write the grants, because they're so busy. They just don't have the
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I've got you.
So we saw that, and we said, okay, you know what? Let's address all of these things to help small businesses, to get them started. But on the nonprofit side of it, what I saw is that yes, there are accelerators, but the accelerators that I'm used to, basically, they only focus on the organization once they get to about 100K, as far as revenue. So
Yeah.
what about the people who are 0 to 100K?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's why I jumped into that space,
Okay.
to do technical assistance, because that's our focus, is to say, okay, we know how you need to look later. So what we're going to do is help you build that foundation early on and provide that support and grow your business a certain kind of way from the very beginning. But we
Yeah.
focus only on that group and its BIPOC. That's it. Because
Yeah.
who are looking at generational wealth. Because when I ran across, it was a article that a YouTuber, his name is Anthony, he's an attorney. I probably shouldn't say his
Okay.
name. Okay, so I can't remember his whole name. Tone Talk or something like that, I think.
Okay.
Not Tone Talk, but yeah, I think it's Tone Talk.
Okay.
He mentioned he put out statistics on African Americans, in our net worth, and he was talking about this big wealth gap. Now,
Yeah.
I usually listen to a lot of different things, what have you, but he did such a great job at providing the empirical data, and
Okay.
I was like, oh, you're talking my talk now. So he was able to really show the data in a way where I can see and understand. Because sometimes people,
Mhm.
statistics, sometimes you can make it say what you want it to say. That's
Beautiful.
why I always look for the data set. And he provided the data set.
Gotcha.
So the information he provided was very valid.
Okay.
He
Gotcha.
was on point. So one of the things that he was showing, he was like, if we don't do something quick, we're gonna have generational poverty here.
Yeah. Yeah.
African Americans really need to do that. And so it was a crazy number. He was saying how network was like, it was like 9,000. I was like, oh my God, you
Well,
got to be, this cannot be right.
yeah.
So of course, and like I said, I gotta look at that again. And I think Hispanics was
Oh,
at 12,000. And then of course, here we go with Anglo Americans in there 70 and something of that nature.
well, yeah. So I can't remember if it was the Brookings Institute, and when we got started, I used to quote that a lot. I actually, when we started our nonprofit, because it was basically saying the data was basically showing that the black wealth average, the wealth of a black family was actually going towards zero by
Yes,
2050. And and
yes,
and then
yes,
when
correct.
COVID came, it actually speeded it up more than
That's right.
earlier. And so,
Correct.
but most people don't want to comprehend that. They don't want to believe that. But one of the ways that here in Pensacola, there was a study done that completed about 2 years ago. They did never publish all the results, but I did get the data and I did get the draft report. And basically, they were showing that 42,000 jobs in this small town was going to get automated out.
That's
And those,
right. And that's the
those
other thing. Yeah.
yeah, and those are the jobs that mostly black people have.
That's right. Had exactly. And
Yeah,
so yeah. Yeah, and so I understood that synergy when we first met. I say
yeah,
he's looking at the same stats here, and
yeah,
so and that's how I guess some of us have jumped into the space and said, okay, we got to do something. We
yeah.
have to do something.
That's
Let's get
exactly.
together, do what we have to do so that we can make this impact. We got to reverse this, and so
Yeah,
for us, that's why it's important that the business owner, the founder, is not only a BIPOC startup entrepreneur, but one who is focused on generational wealth, because what we want to do is reverse those statistics. Just like our other brothers and sisters, you and some of our other sisters and brothers who are out there in this fight to reverse this. And that's basically where we're coming from. Is just we're just trying to make sure that it does not happen. We want a future where our black and brown and people of color can really still survive and have an impact in this world,
yeah,
and take care of their family. So
yeah.
yeah.
But based on what we've seen over the last couple of years working with the founders, it sounds like your expertise is definitely some expertise that the founders actually need. And the question is, how do we get funding for a person like an organization like yours so we can make your service available to more BIPOC founders? And that's kind of the way I see it. And so
Yeah.
then on the technology side, we need to see how we can get funding to actually support founders. And so with the training, and I'm so glad you're in that organization development space. We have Bree McCounsell, one of our consultants, She has a master's degree, and her specialty is organization development,
Nice.
as well as as
Nice.
consulting. She used to work for the Small Business Development Center. But I think some people don't really know the value of people and how they can really actually help you move forward. And so like for a founder, and this is a kind of a small point. I want to make sure you're aware of this, and the audience aware of this, because one of the ways we can help get the founders trained is like, and so sometimes it's hard to get the funding. Well, I guess not in most places, but it seems to be in Florida. It's hard to get the money for entrepreneurship training. So
It is.
I won't go any further than that. But in Florida, you can get money, and all across the United States, you can get money to train. Um, um, the business operations specialists and business operations managers, which is the same stuff as this organizational development and understanding the bottom line of a business. And so the question is if you don't, so this is what's so uh, crazy. People don't really realize how many roadblocks they got out there for Black people and people of color. And so
Yeah.
what my approach is to learn how to use the system that's there and get the people in there. So what I say, well, if they don't want to train you how to be an entrepreneur or provide the funding for it, but they are willing to train you to be a business operations specialist or a business operation manager. When you look at the description, it's just like an entrepreneur, and they will pay to get you trained as a business operation manager or a business operations specialist. So why not
Clever.
get that program to actually
Very
help?
clever.
Yeah, but yeah, yeah, but that's literally because I'm telling you everything I've
You're
seen
right. Oh,
with
you're right.
procurement works. Those rules and guidelines, it literally blocks minorities from doing it. And yeah, and so you have to figure out a way to use the system. The system will let you provide technical support for a small business. So like your wraparound type support, you can get funding to support business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why not get funding to support them with technology, that
Yes.
type stuff? Why
Yes.
not? And so that's the back door that we can come in through to support our BIPOC founders the way they really need to be supported. And the reason why I say that, when we look at Northwest Florida and the Small Business Development Center, their clients in 2021, there was a 10-to-1 difference in the amount of wealth that Black or minority founders brought to the table than white males. So loans and money, to capitalize their business. So if you don't have the money to capitalize your business as a
That's
minority or a
right.
Black person, you can't hire people, you can't
That's
buy,
right.
you can't do this. And so this data for our region, it literally shows there's a 10-to-1 gap.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, and so
Yeah. That's the hard part, right? Because that was the other statistics that we were looking at when we first started out was the three things that why organizations fail, right? First of all, is hiring the right talent.
yes,
It's very difficult. I just had this conversation with a good friend of mine who helps Black companies export overseas,
okay,
and one of the things we were talking about is, a lot of money is connected to, you can have this money, but you have to hire someone in the United States. And we're thinking to ourselves now, the amount of money that you're giving us is not going to be enough for us to produce plus hire. So
hmm
it's that catch 22, right? That's one of the challenges that we're dealing with is the HR side. The other piece is the capital, making sure that we have enough money to be able to succeed. Now, you see people in California. I had a client recently, a mentee, because I mentor
hmm
at certain organizations, but a mentee who's just having the darnest time. Great product. Oh my God, it's just, but he and his classmate, who happens to be an Anglo-American female, he an African-American male, and Anglo-American male partner,
Gotcha.
But he's the face, Um, she got all the money. People are giving her money left and right in the valley, right?
Yeah.
But Silicon Valley. But
Yeah.
for him, he's just having the darnest time. And he's like, "Look, I even have the numbers, and we're going through everything for his pitch and all that." And I'm and
Mhm.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, "Wow, yeah, you do. You have a very good. I mean, the pitch is there." And it's just amazing to me how it is a challenge for people of color to really to get the funding we need to make it happen. And and it's amazing because in all meetings that I attend, it's like, oh, we know we need money, we need seed money for Black people.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, people of color, and it's like, we need it. It's like, okay, is needed, but for whatever reason you're trying to, not, so
Yeah. And
it's one of those things. We have to be clever, kind of like
yeah.
what you did. Your angle is to go that way, mine is on investment, but
Yeah.
we all have to be clever in this and really create a process where we can um uh maneuver to get the money some kind of way.
Yes.
For me, I'm gonna be honest with you. I grew very small with my businesses, and partly because everything came out of pocket for me.
Yeah.
I didn't take out a loan. I
I
still, to this day,
understand
I'm
that.
not taking out a loan. So, and then I didn't even go to investors. I made it, I believed in my skill set,
Yes.
and I got out there and I hustled. Now, of course, not every, that I'm not saying to do that, but in times when you have to, and I mean, of course, I had people who believed in the mission that said, you know what, we'll do this with no charge to you. We'll just, get behind you, and until you can pay us, we good. And so, I mean, I was blessed in that way, but I look at some people who that's how they had to start. A lot of us had to start that way. Is that we didn't have the backing of certain companies or what have you. We just had to go out there and say, you know what, I got a very good product, and this is the difference. This is the difference between me and my competitor. I can do this. So getting out there and giving them hard facts and stats and stuff like that, people will buy. And I think that's one of the things that we have to get really good at too, is really having that, and unfortunately we do have to be this stellar organization, great customer service, because they always
Yeah.
talk about, how it is, Lloyd.
Yeah. Yeah.
People say, well,
Yeah.
African Americans always give best customer service. We got a customer service problem. Well, not
Yeah.
all of us, right? We do well. I mean, a lot of us do. I mean, I know I take care of my customers, Lloyd. The time that we've met, I know you take care of your customers. I can see your heart is golden toward making sure these founders are getting what they need, getting out there and getting the money for them or what have you to keep the programs going. So there are a lot of us who are doing it right. We just have to be clever, and that's the challenge, is finding that space where we can get the money to sustain ourselves in between. But it goes back to, I think, what you said too earlier, Lloyd. It's your ecosystem. I'm a
Yeah.
very firm believer in creating partnerships. Yeah,
Yeah.
to leverage. Yeah, to leverage.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I see is, so it's just like these, there are a lot of programs out there to support Black and Brown founders, but one program can't do everything for
Correct.
every founder, and so you have to kind of get the synergy in the programs, and so there's different pieces that we can help each other with, and so. And I think that's the way we have to leverage each other to support our founders. So on your so you try to work with founders there locally. What's your reach? On do you try to work with? I heard you say you were mentoring somebody in California, but your program, do you actually limit your service to Texas, or do you go outside of Texas? What's your approach on that?
Well, actually, we're hybrid. That's why we're hybrid incubators, because everything's online. So
Okay.
we are able to go everywhere.
Okay.
Actually, the for-profit company right now, we're going through the exporting program that I was talking about before. So
Hmm.
we are looking at, and we already have clients overseas.
Okay.
So now that's all, it's just a seamless thing. But right behind that is going to be the nonprofit. We want our reach to be global
Gotcha.
eventually.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
but right now, yeah, because I'm a native of New Orleans, Louisiana, so
Okay.
I'm a
Gotcha.
Creole little lady, right? Uh, so so Louisiana is, I have clients in Louisiana, always have had, for many years. North Carolina, I furthered my education in North Carolina. So there we work with people in North Carolina. We've had people in Texas, California, Mississippi, Florida. Actually, I have a good friend of mine. We helped him to relaunch his construction company. So we do business everywhere. We didn't want to limit ourselves, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to put everything online, was because I wanted to have it where it's open to everybody and not just a particular geographical location.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. So, founders, you all hear that this is another resource that's out there, and one of the ways that I offered to kind of partner with you all, so like it's like even with this online event every Thursday night, and inviting your founders you're working with to the event, and like we can get all the speakers that provide services for founders. We can get the other founders that have had success, or just I like showing founders that have had success. I like showing founders that are just getting started, so we can um, actually see that it's everyday people that are out there actually being founders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I mean, that's a beautiful thing, especially when, people are starting their business, and you're saying, you're saying, hey, to share your story. And like, and it goes back to what you're saying earlier. Someone could hear that and say, you know what, I need that service, or I need a partner. You provide us a portion of something that I don't. How about us go to work together, and then we can go after different things together, and as far as grants or
Yeah.
government contracts or what have you. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that is great to have it where founders are speaking and testifying. So are you saying that founders that have gone through your program, you actually give them the floor
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
too?
yeah,
Awesome.
for sure, and even
Yeah,
founders in your program, if you think they
sure.
have something to share, we would be glad to get them on
Yes,
to kind of share their story.
yes.
Like I had met another founder up in Atlanta, and she had just got started earlier this year with her thing, and so she got in. We had her on, and then all of a sudden she got selected for some programs. She got selected for two programs already this year.
Really nice.
Yeah, and so I'm anxious to going to get her back on to kind of share what she's learned from those two programs and what difference that made in her journey so far.
Yeah, no worries. I would love to. Yeah, absolutely. One of mine that I always talk about a lot, because I used to work for the SBDC. I was a small business advisor there, and there
Hmm.
was a young lady that I met. She was just starting out, and I was her small business advisor. And one of the things that it was ice cream she made,
Hmm.
and actually she's growing pretty good right now. But I would love to have her to come on, because she's working toward getting her products in the stores.
Okay.
It's been, you know, in the process of being manufactured, so it can be in
Fantastic.
Walmart,
Yeah, we love.
Whole Food, and stuff like that. So it'd be great, because
Oh
especially
yeah,
for beauty
yeah,
folks, I'm telling you that
yes.
that ice cream, is delicious to me.
Yeah, well, maybe, yeah, definitely we
Yes,
can
let's
get
have
on as early as
her on.
yeah, we can get on as early as next week, and she can ship me some ice cream too.
That's right. That's right. It's banana. If you like banana, because the
Of
thing is, it's
course.
not dairy at all. It's all made out of banana. And I'll never forget when we first started, I was working with her throughout the whole process, pricing and all that. And I was like, well, let me try sample now. You got to give me try a sample.
Oh yeah.
And oh my gosh, she has so many different flavors now, and the wafers and all that. So I'm so proud of her. She's one, yeah, she's
Hmm.
one of my golden people. So
Yeah.
yeah, I look forward to having her on. Yeah, absolutely. I
Oh,
have some others
oh, yeah.
that have similar stories, but
Oh
hers
yeah.
is
And so,
one that's
but
near and
but
dear.
I'm so glad we're having a conversation. But like for the founders in the audience, there's a lot of resources out there, and so just realize that, and so like here you got an expert in organizational development. I'm surprised I'm not really seeing some questions in the chat, on that, because the organizational development consultant, they literally come in and turn your business around and make it more
Correct.
profitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's a really definitely a excellent consulting business, because they know what to look for, and they know
Yeah.
how to check. And so and some of our founders are much earlier on, and that's why I asked the question. Well, how do you work with somebody at an early stage that may have not significantly launched yet? Or they're just getting started with their product or service and testing it out.
So
Yeah.
one of the first things that I always start off with is asking them, first of all, what is their story? That starts off right. That's why I was saying when you asked me that question in the beginning. See, so now you understand at the core of me is injustice.
Yeah.
So that's why it was easy for me to transition to be a business owner, to help people, right? Because I'm
Hmm.
still helping people at the end of the day, and but more from an economic development as opposed to a political, which they go hand in hand. But
Yeah.
I'm more on the economic development side of the fence, and I'm an educator as well. So one of the things that I typically always ask is for people to first start there. What is the problem? Identify that problem that you see in the marketplace. For me, like I said, I looked at the statistics originally for nonprofits, and it was like here in Texas, it was crazy numbers. It was like out of 100,000 nonprofits, 40,000 was successful. So I mean, 60,000 was not. So what was going on with those 60,000? So that was the first thing that came into my mind. So the 40,000 were large. That's why they were profitable, because they're big. People are going to always give you money if you already, you're already doing it, right? You already have it. Whereas people who are doing the work, according to the statistics, that report, the people who were doing the work were not getting money at all, because they weren't known yet.
Hmm.
And so that was my heart right there. I mean, I ran out and I was like, okay, we gotta do some technical assistance here,
Hmm.
jump in and try to help out. So that's the first thing. So I'm just using that as an example. So
Gotcha.
I saw a problem, and my solution was to provide the technical assistance to the nonprofits.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing, is identify a problem in the market. Now, let's say that your issue is not a new problem, but an existing problem that you want to improve upon. It's kind of like, oh, we got Uber, but why do we have Lyft? People are like, well, what's the difference? So the thing is Lyft offered something different from Uber, although they both, pretty much are the same, right? Same kind of service.
Hmm.
But Uber, from a organizational standpoint, they're more corporate, really, really corporate. So that was a turn off to people who are anti-corporate, who are not as corporate. They're like, I like, stuff for the people, right? So
Hmm.
Lyft was that answer for them. So that's
Okay.
why they support Lyft. So you can have a product that would improve upon something, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily be in existence because there isn't anything else out there, but it
Mm.
could be something that will improve. So then if you have something that's improving upon, let's say it already kind of exists, you don't want to recreate the wheel.
Yeah.
Then you have to start looking at what's the difference between you and your competitors. Or, and I don't call my competitors because I make everybody my friend.
Mhm.
I do. I really do. That's my thing is see how we can partner, because you offer something that I don't, because trust me, our bids are not the same. It is not the same. We may do, maybe some of the end results may be the same, same to a certain degree.
Yes.
We're going to approach it differently. And it kind of goes back to what Lloyd said in the beginning, how all these founders had the same product, but they all approached it differently, right?
Yes.
So it's okay. So you're going to attract clients that are who like your approach. So don't
Yes.
ever look at say that, oh my God, it's flooded and I will never make money. Not necessarily so. Now, I mean, there's a way to work around that. But the other piece is to really get clear about what's the difference between you guys, and being able to articulate that with people. This is what I do differently. So that's one of the things. Those are just a couple of nuggets I say in the very beginning, and then be clear about your customer, clientele. Who is it that you are trying to serve? Now, I get it. Like for me, in the very beginning, because I have mentors too,
Yeah.
and I tell people mentors should have mentors, right? We all have mentors. And one of the things in the very beginning, one of my mentors, she was like, so who's your target audience? And so I talked about the revenue size, because for me, I don't have a industry, because I can go across all industries. I've worked
Yeah.
with so many different industries that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't condense it to industry, but I can condense it to an annual the gross revenue of the business.
Yeah.
So that just was, the person originally, she could not understand that. Now she's no longer my mentor, but at the beginning she couldn't understand that.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I will say is, yes, you're not going to serve everyone, but get really, really clear about who you are going to, who is your ideal person. Start looking at the characteristics of that person. Let's look at the demographics. How old are they? How, their ethnicity, if there is anything like that. What's the gender that you attract the most? What is meaning your product or your service? What does it attract? Who does it speak to the most? Like I said before, I'm from Louisiana. Sometimes that New Orleans kicks in. Okay, you may hear me say a word or so, and that turns some people off. It really does. So it's all right for me, because I mean that's who I am. I mean, somebody may not want a African American woman who has natural hair in front of their organization training. You
Okay.
know, but you know what? That's okay. So I'm clear on that. So these are the people that I look for, as far as my clients. For me overall, typically most of my clients are of people of color,
Okay.
and we range in that 40 to 60 age range. It just happens that way. And I mean, now I'm getting a little bit younger in the millennial areas, but primarily used to be between 40 and
Gotcha.
60, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, so that's something that just being clear about that ideal client. Now, a way that you can, if you just completely don't have any idea of how who would buy your products, then do a little focus group, a small one, just maybe about 8 people. That's a good sample size. Diverse people in offer your product. Ask questions about your about your product, basically, and then get their feedback. And then that way, that'll help you to kind of start narrowing it in as far as, okay, who would like my product, who would buy mine, and then that's actually, believe it or not, your first group of clients. That's your pipeline right
Yeah.
there. You just
Yeah.
created a
Early
pipeline.
adopters.
There
Yeah.
you go. So now the people say, yeah, I would buy that. Like I was telling my client, here it is. I'm mentor advising someone, and she's coming with the banana ice cream. I'm like, I just was giving up dairy, and I was
Yeah.
like, I would buy your products. Guess what? I'm her client, right?
Yeah. Fantastic.
That's how you do it. That's how
Okay.
you.
So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up real. and so I guess, I want you to be thinking about the way we can, like I was saying, like keep the ball rolling and helping each
Yeah,
other out and getting our founders access to you and stuff like that. And
absolutely.
I guess they can connect with you on LinkedIn. It's one way to connect with you there. Um, and so, any parting words before other parting words before we sign off?
No, not at all, Lloyd. That it's definitely a pleasure. We're not going to be strangers. There are some things that I think we can definitely
Well,
partner
yeah,
on for sure. And for the people who did attend, yeah, feel free. I always have a free consultation. I also have some groups that I'm a part of. But what I like to do is to help support Lloyd in however I can in his group and staying, there. So however if you want to reach out, feel free to reach out. I have no problem with that. But my thing is I want to make sure that startup on the block, you guys are, however, whatever knowledge or expertise I can provide, I would be more than happy to do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's really fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. And so we definitely look forward to keeping the ball rolling. Support. We want to support your founders and letting them leverage our
Absolutely.
network and anything we can do. We're here and to help. And like also like if your founders, if you want to do a cohort in our lean stack thing with some of your founders,
Sure.
I'm definitely open to that as well.
Sure,
So
sure, sure.
yeah, so that's a lot of opportunity out there. I was trying to post your stuff in here. It was acting like it didn't want to come in. So yeah, this is how they can actually reach out to you on your wisdomcounselors.com website, and also the
Yes.
appointment where they can get an appointment. And
Yeah.
I'll make sure I include that in the email that I sent out, and they'll be able to get a hold of you.
All
Thanks a
right.
million. All right, we'll
All
see
right.
everybody next week. Go ahead and actually sign up for next week's event, and so we'll be ready to roll. Thanks everyone for participating today. I sure appreciate it, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks a
All
lot.
right. Thank you.